I have with me today Senator Karen Kaiser. She is the president of Pro Tempo of the Washington State Senate, representing its 33rd Legislative District. Senator Kaiser, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Jesse.
No, I totally appreciate it. So I want to ask you about, you're the president, if I'm pronouncing it right, Pro Tempore, right?
It's actually pronounced pro tempore, but that's
Tempore.
okay. It's just a Latin verb that's used in legislatures, and it's simply that I preside over the entire Senate. It's a position that is elected by all the members, both Republicans and Democrats. And it is a position of authority because I must enforce the rules for all members in their decorum, in their speech, in their presentations, and rule if they're out of order to ask them to cease.
Amazing. And so are you Democrat or Republican?
I'm a Democrat.
You're a Democrat. And so are you like a feminist?
I believe that every person makes their own choices, and they have a right to make their own choices.
And so are you a feminist?
I would say I am a humanist. I believe all humans have a right to make their own choices.
Do you support abortion?
I support the right of every human being to make their own choices about what they will do.
Do you think that a woman has a right to kill the man's baby inside the womb without his permission?
I believe every individual has a right to their own choices. Now, I'm not on this program, Jesse, to have a theological argument with you, but I obviously have a difference of opinion than you
Right.
do.
And so you think it's so, don't argue the theological stuff, but as a woman, as a Christian, as a mother, as an ex-wife, you believe that do you believe a woman has a right to murder the man's baby inside of a womb without his permission?
I believe that a baby becomes human when they give life, when they are born and take the first breath of life. That, I believe, is when the Holy Spirit enters the baby's soul and they become a human being. Before that, they are not a human being and they are not a baby. After they're born, they are.
When they're in the womb, are they dead or alive?
They are a living tissue and then a living organism, but they are not a human being or a baby.
Do we as human beings have the right to take the life of someone else?
As you well know, of course not.
Then why do women think they have a right to take the life of a man's baby inside the womb?
Because it's not a baby. It is not a human being. It becomes a human being when it is born and it gets the breath of life and God enters their soul. That is my belief in the creation, if you would, of life. And many other faiths have a similar belief.
That's amazing. And did the woman come from the man or from God?
From God.
What? The man didn't come from the woman. I mean, the woman didn't come from.
God created all.
Did the woman come
He
from
is
God?
the creator of all, Jesse. You know that.
Did,
He's
did,
creator of heaven and earth, much
did
less
the woman
people.
come from God's body or from the man's body?
God created both. In
But
fact, he created our universe.
but
So
did
we agree on that, right?
but did she come from the man's body?
I do not believe a woman is a what? A child of a man. No, I don't believe so. I think God created all.
You don't
And
you don't believe that the woman is created in the image of the man?
nope, I don't, Jesse. I've said that about a thousand
What
times
kind of
now.
Christian is
I don't
you?
see. I am born and bred Lutheran.
Whoa.
Hmm.
You don't seem to either understand or have any of the values that are totally from God. It seems like you're deviated from all of that. Why is
I
that?
read the I read the Bible every week. I go to church every week. I sing in my church choir. I'm a spiritual being. But I thought we wanted to talk about other
We
things.
do. We want to get to that. Do you support should women play in men's sport?
I think that it's up to the individual to choose what they want to do in terms of athletics and education and livelihood. It's up to the individual. It's not for us to choose their limits. They make their own limits.
And should women be allowed to play in men's sports?
I think it's up to the individual, not based on gender, not based on how much money you have, not based on what color the skin you have is. It should be the individual's choice.
And should men be allowed to play in women's sports?
It's up to the individual. I don't believe in dictating to others.
And so these women, now that you have men playing in women's sports, swimming and track and field, whatever they're doing, and these women are bitching about it, are they wrong for being upset that men are playing in women's sports?
I can't speak to this. I don't know the issue that well. So I can't speak to it, but I do heartily believe that it's up to the individual to decide for themselves and not to be told what they can and cannot do.
Are you for same-sex marriage and all that stuff too?
I believe, again, I feel like I'm on a courtroom witness stand here. I can't say it enough. I believe the individual has a right to choose for themselves what they want to do.
Amazing.
So let's just leave it at that. And let's talk about other things that go on in our world.
Do you believe racism exists?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have any proof of that?
Well, I obviously know the history a little of our country and of our world for that matter. Racism is not limited to the United States of America. But yes, racism exists and still exists.
Give me
I
proof.
believe we've made some progress in the last few years, in the last maybe generation or two. But honestly, I went to Atlanta some while ago. I'd never been to that city before. And I went to the Ebenezer Baptist Church because I wanted to see where Martin Luther King had preached. And across the street is a museum. And I went to the museum across the street, and I was absolutely shocked. I had no knowledge of Jim Crow laws. Do you know back then in the South that a black baseball team could not play on the same baseball diamond as a white baseball team, a little league team? We're talking little boys, that they were segregated by race, and they were also not allowed to even play on the same baseball field on different days. They were segregated physically, totally. The cemeteries were segregated as well. You could only be buried in certain areas. You couldn't be buried in the white cemetery. We all know about drinking fountains, where there were colored drinking fountains for black people and white drinking fountains for everybody else. Those kinds of divisions and separations, I think, are totally abhorrent and against God's will.
Amazing.
I personally think it is against God's will. And I think that we are doing the same thing with gender when we try to divide and separate and say, can do this, but you can't do that. I believe it's up to the individual that God has given agency to make their decisions.
And so do you have any proof that racism exists or ever existed?
Well, honestly, that museum was full of it. It had the documents, it had the laws, it had the testimonies from individuals who were taped on videotape. So yes, there's total proof abounding about that.
Oh, so are you saying that that is proof that racism existed at one time, or are you saying
No,
that's
I'm
proof
saying
of
that
it?
we had a situation, at least as far as I know, it was in mostly the southern states, where there was a complete separation between white and black lives.
Are you saying that is proof of racism?
Yes.
then why didn't the blacks and the whites see that as racism back then? Because prior to the civil rights movement, the blacks and the whites didn't see that as racism, and there
Oh,
were
I think
some
Harriet
white
Tubman
people
did.
that
I
was
think Harriet Tubman was an absolute heroine of rescuing slaves from the South who were unfortunately unable to escape without assistance from their bondage.
But I'm
They
asking
were
you,
in total bondage.
why didn't the blacks see that as racism back then? Why did
They
all of a
did.
sudden it became?
They did. Did you never read Frederick Douglass?
Where is Frederick Douglass now?
He's dead, but
I
back
rest my
then,
case.
well, we're nobody's immortal, Jesse.
What else do y'all need to do for the blacks to make them better?
Our country can do better for everyone.
What can they do for the blacks before the blacks say that's enough? We had enough. We're going to do it on our own.
Well, you know, I can't speak for the blacks. That is up for discussion, but I'm not in authority or knowledge or experience to take that on. I cannot take that on.
So, do you disagree with me that the civil rights movement, other than abortion, was the worst thing that ever happened to the blacks?
I think the civil rights movement was a absolute wonderful thing.
What the?
Everybody.
And so, what's wrong with the blacks then? Why can't they? If the civil
I
rights
said I
movement was
can't speak to that. That is not my issue. I cannot deal with what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. The people I deal with don't have the same attitude about blacks or about Latinos or about Asian Americans. We have a much more inclusive approach with the folks that I work with in the legislature, and we respect each other and we respect each other's heritage.
Are you afraid to, let's say you're in the legislature, right? You know how loudmouth these black women are in the legislature. If you disagree with a black woman in government, are you brave enough to tell her, you know what, I disagree, you're wrong? Are you brave
Jesse, I'm
enough?
disagreeing with you. I guess I could disagree with someone who's a woman, but at the most part, it's not something I would enter into an argument with.
I don't blame you.
I try to find a path forward to get to yes.
Why would you argue with a black woman in government and legislature?
I do not argue with people in legislatures. I listen, and I try to bring them forward to find common ground. That's how we make progress, Jesse. If we just sit around and argue with each other, we don't get anywhere.
I agree to that. Are white people racist?
Many are.
But not most.
I can't speak to most, but I do know that racism still exists. And it's unfortunate, and I'd like to see it go away. But as I said, it's something we have to acknowledge.
Are black people racist?
I'm sorry?
Are black people racist?
I think anybody can be a racist.
How about black people?
Anybody can be a racist.
Are black people racist?
I don't characterize any group of people. Individuals can be racist, whatever their race.
Do you love white people?
Not particularly.
You don't love white people?
I just love people.
How about white people?
Not in particular. I love all people.
But not white people.
I love all people.
Do you love white people?
Well, I love all people, Jesse, don't you?
But I'm asking about white people. Do you love white people?
Not in particular.
Why not?
I've said that 3 times now.
Why don't you love white people in particular?
I just don't.
Wow. So does God love white people?
I don't think so. I think God loves all people.
But not white people?
All people.
But how about the whites?
All.
Do you love Donald Trump?
Give me a break.
Do you love Donald Trump, the great white hope?
No, no, no. I told you I laughed my head off when you said that.
You don't love the Great White Hope. Does God love the Great White Hope, Donald Trump?
I can't speak for God. Who knows?
But you don't love him
How could anybody love that person? That's a good question.
because he's a son of God. He put the country first. He sacrificed a lot.
I'm not going to discuss this with you, Jesse. I am here to talk with you about how we can make our lives better through state legislative action because we can.
Amazing.
And